So my presentation today is about wholesale sourcing, and what I'm going to cover is my top 7 wholesale sourcing methods. Now, method number 1 is retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, direct manufacturer contact. That's one that I use an awful lot, and I'll explain how to do that. Wholesale trade shows, which we're at, and I have to tell you, this type of trade show, and I go to probably 4 or 5 different trade shows a year. Trade shows are my number 1 place to source merchandise, and I'll tell you why when I get to that section. Wholesale merchandise marts, non-wholesale trade shows, these are just normal shows that are open to the public. One of my best-selling products that I've had for, we've been selling for 7 or 8 years, we found at the Seattle Home Show. It's just an open to the public retail home show, but the manufacturer was there exhibiting his product, and I pitched him on it, and they've been drop shipping for me for 7 years. And farmers markets and arts and craft shows. Believe it or not, these are great sources, especially the farmers markets. One of my better selling and more profitable categories on Amazon is gourmet foods. And this is where I find them, more so than from the manufacturers. So let's talk about retail arbitrage. Basically, it's a term that originated in stock and currency markets. There are traders, especially currency traders, you know, currencies trade on 10 or 12 different exchanges around the world. And some guy will see that the price of the Japanese yen versus the US dollar on the Tokyo exchange is a penny less than on the US exchange, and he'll buy $1 billion on the Tokyo exchange and turn right around and sell it for a penny more on the US exchange. So that's kind of where arbitrage came from. In our business, arbitrage means finding a product, usually from a retailer, that you can sell online and, you know, mark up enough to make a profit. A lot of times you find these in the clearance sections, but sometimes, like at Christmas time, you know, there were hot toys that we didn't do too much of it this year, but last year we went to Costco and just bought up a lot of the hot toys and paid, you know, Costco's full retail price. And we were able to more than double that price on Amazon during the Christmas season when those items became in short supply. Retail arbitrage means you're buying them from a brick and mortar store. The next item is going to be online arbitrage, where you're buying them from various online sites. eBay, Amazon, a lot of people, you know, they find things on eBay cheap and they turn around and flip them on Amazon, and vice versa. They find them something selling cheap on Amazon and they turn around and flip it on eBay. That's more of the online arbitrage model. But the other retail stores that are good, Target, Home Depot, Walmart, Toys R Us, Sam's Club, Costco. One of the best deals I ever did was about 5 years ago. We were in Costco. It was right before Thanksgiving, and they had smoked salmon fillets, and these are the kind that are vacuum sealed. They don't need refrigeration. And they were 1.5 pound fillets selling for $17. And on Amazon, the Sea Bear and the other popular brands of fillets were selling 1 pound fillets for $39. So we just loaded up. Karen and I filled up one of those orange big flat push carts wiped them out of all their salmon, and put it on Amazon for $42.95. We sold every single one. Our cost was $17, and we sold it for $42.95. So I mean, you can find these bargains. Trader Joe's is really good because they're only located in 17 states, and there's a lot of people in the country that love Trader Joe's products because a lot of them are organic and natural products. And maybe they used to live in a state like Washington State that has Trader Joe's, and now they live in New Jersey that doesn't, or some other state, I don't know if New Jersey does or not. And they'll go online and they'll pay 3x the price. One of the hottest selling products, I'll give you one, because we kind of aren't doing it too much anymore because the nearest Trader Joe's to us is about an hour-and-a-half drive, and it's kind of schlepping up there is always a problem. But they're dried mango slices. They sell these dried mango slices, I don't know, they sell them for I think 99 cents a pack. I was selling them on Amazon in 5 packs for $12.99 or $14.99 or something like that. So cost of $5, yeah, I think I was getting $14.99 on a cost of $5. And they would fly out. I mean, I just couldn't keep them in stock fast enough. And they have a lot of products like that. If you go on Amazon and you type in Trader Joe's, you'll get about 2,000 results. And you can see which products are selling from Trader Joe's on Amazon. And then those are the products you buy when you go there. I don't know Sam's Club. We're a member of Costco. The house brand at Costco is called Kirkland, Kirkland. If you type Kirkland into the Amazon search box, you'll get about 1,000 or 2,000 results of products. So people are buying stuff at Costco and Sam's Club, and they're buying the house brands and selling them on Amazon. Some tips for retail arbitrage. Use a smartphone app. It works sometimes. Some people list things on Amazon under a different UPC code, but if an item is listed under its original UPC code, you can scan it in the store and see what it's selling for on Amazon. Not every product comes up for that reason, because some people create bundles, and when they create a bundle or a multi-pack, they use a different UPC code. So I just use the regular Amazon buyer app, and I just type in the name of the product and see if it comes up, and I can usually find it that way if I can't find it on my smartphone app. If you find an item on clearance you want to buy out, check with the store manager. Jim, I think, has a story about this. He was in, I believe it was a Target or Walmart with his child, and they found children's life vests on clearance for like $7 or $8. These are things that normally sell for $29 or $30. And he asked the manager, he said, look, you've got about 50 of these left. Will you give me a better price if I buy them all? And the manager said, sure, you can have them all for, I think it was $5 or something like that. So, if you see items on clearance and then you check it on Amazon and you see that it's viable to sell, ask for the department manager, or if they say no, ask for the store manager. Don't take no for an answer just once. Make sure you get at least 2 no's. And about 50% of the time they'll do it. It really depends on how urgent they need to get rid of that merchandise. Now, some store clerks will not let you buy large quantities. You find something and you want to buy 25 or 50 of them, and they'll say, no, you can't do that. Again, just ask for the store manager or the department manager. That they'll change that instantly. But it's a lot of the clerks that work in the sections that think, you're not supposed to buy all these large quantities of products on clearance because it's not fair to everybody else. Store managers put things on clearance because they want the shelf space. They want to get rid of that stuff, and the faster they get rid of it, the sooner they can free up that shelf space. Now, online arbitrage, it's done exactly the same way, except you're using online sites. I'm going to show you some online sites. All of these sites have, if you look up in the navigation bar, they have a clearance section, and that's the first place you want to look. Now, with Toys R Us, I always look in the clearance section, but near Christmas, the hot-selling toys, they go up in price on eBay and Amazon as you get closer to Christmas. So sometimes you can even pay full retail for some of the hot-selling things and still make money on it. Walmart.com, Costco.com, Home Depot is good. Home Depot, by the way, is also good for retail arbitrage. Every department at Home Depot has an end cap, usually near the back of the department, where they have clearance items. I mean, I found things like DeWalt drill sets on clearance for $79 that are normally $149 or $169. Craigslist is a great place. You can find stuff on Craigslist that people have. Now, Craigslist is usually, not always, but it's usually used stuff, so that there you're talking about an eBay sale, not so much an Amazon sale. I mentioned eBay before, but eBay and Amazon both, believe me, there are so many eBay sellers that don't know what they're doing. And they'll put an item up at auction that's worth $29, $39, and because their photograph and their listing is done so poorly, or maybe they end the auction at 2 o'clock in the morning when nobody's online, and you can put in a proxy bid for $2 or $3 and often win the item, and then turn around and sell it on Amazon for close to the retail price. That's not a business model that you can do enough to make a living, but if you're just looking for, I personally don't do, I used to do a lot of retail arbitrage, both online and stores. I don't anymore. I'm more of a buy from wholesale suppliers now, because I like the idea that I can just order and reorder stuff. The problem with arbitrage is you're spending too much time shopping, and I'd rather spend more time selling. But a lot of people, especially people that start out in this business and they don't have a lot of money to buy wholesale products, they don't have $1,000 or $2,000 to order a few cases of something. They'll start with retail arbitrage because it's a great way to build up your cash really quickly. Etsy is another one. Listia.com is kind of a new site that I've just been playing around with. I don't know much about it, but I've seen some things on Listia. They're trying to compete with eBay, and They're coming along okay, actually. I think they have a shot at becoming as big as Etsy in a couple years. But I've seen some stuff selling on there at incredibly cheap prices that would be very easy to flip. The way Listia works is you're not paying for, you pay for stuff and you get points, and then you use the points to buy the merchandise. So one way to use Listia is buy stuff on Listia that you would ordinarily buy for yourself anyway. Like, you know, ladies buy your shampoo there. So you're earning points, and then you can use those points to purchase merchandise that you can resell. So here's some of the sites just to show you. This is Home Depot. Right there it says specials and offers. That's where you want to look first. Here's Toys R Us, and here is a clearance section, okay? Here's Walmart, value of the day. Now, direct manufacturer contact. This is so easy, I don't know why everybody does it. I have written about this in my newsletter at least 10 or 12 times over the last few years. But I see a product on Amazon or eBay or somewhere that I want to sell, and I don't know where the wholesale source is, but the product is made by some manufacturer. I mean, I could be in a store and I can see the name of the product, and on the box is the website of the manufacturer. Same thing online. You know, if you type in, if you do a Google search for the name of a manufacturer, invariably 99% of these manufacturers have websites. And all I do is I just use the contact form and I send them an email. Like here, this is Bamix. The Bamix Mono is one of the products I sell. And the way I found them is I went to the Bamix website and I said, I'm a retailer located in Seattle. And I am, by the way, that's the way to talk to a manufacturer. Rather than saying I'm an Amazon seller or online retailer, you are a retailer. You're buying stuff wholesale and selling retail. So if you call yourself a retailer, you're not telling a fib. That's perfect. Now, when people ask me, they say, oh, do you have a store or are you an online retailer? Then I tell the truth. I say, no, I'm an online retailer. But 99% of the time, they're never going to ask you. So I just say, I'm a retailer located in Seattle. Do you have any reps or distributors in my area? And 2 days later, I got an email back from Bamix that it turned out their rep company was a rep company I was already doing business with, but I didn't know they represented Bamix. So I just called them up and placed an order for a case of these things, and I started selling them. Now, this is what my email says. Take a look at that, read that, and feel free to copy that. I say, I'm a retailer near Seattle, Washington. I'm interested in carrying your line of Bamix products. Do you have a rep firm or distributor in the Seattle area I could contact? And then continued, here's my business information. And that's the name of my business, my address and telephone number. And that's not my telephone number, but I just made one up for the slide. My Washington State resale number and Skip McGrath owner. That's what I send the email. I tell you, this works about 80% of the time. About 75, 80% of the time, you will get an answer and they will send you the information. Yeah, I was just showing the products that Bamix sells. I sell the one on the bottom, the 133 white immersion blender for $144. Now, this is not, because you're buying a product at wholesale from a manufacturer or distributor, these are not the kind of products you can mark up 3 or 4 times. But my cost on this product is right about $70. So after Amazon fees, I'm netting about $35, $40 on each one. And what's really interesting about this product, I heard Jim say he doesn't like to compete with Amazon. I do compete with Amazon on this product, and they are usually in the buy box. But it's such a hot-selling product that what happens is Amazon runs out of stock, I move into the buy box, and I'll send in a case of 12 at a time. I'll go through that. I might sit there for 2 weeks waiting for Amazon to run out of stock, and then I'll sell that entire case of 12 in about 3 days. Now, wholesale trade shows. As I said, this is my favorite place to sell. Trade shows are held in almost every major city. There are several kinds of trade shows. ASD is a general trade show. Most cities have what they call a gift show. We have in Seattle, it comes every year, twice a year, the Seattle Gift Show. Don't let the word gift throw you off. That word gift covers apparel, jewelry, gourmet foods, home and garden, kitchen items, accessories for the home. I mean, so many things. So, and I've never failed to go to a gift show. I'll tell you a little story. John was referring to this about people saying to you that you know they already sell on Amazon or they don't want to sell to Amazon sellers. At the Seattle Gift Show, I was in the gourmet food section because that's one of the categories I do pretty well with, and I met a guy, and I told him I was an Amazon seller. He said, "Yeah, we sell on Amazon and we're no good at it." He said, "My feedback's down to 92, and they've suspended my account twice and let me back on." And I said, "Well, how about if I became your exclusive Amazon seller?" I said, "Look, the market for your product on Amazon is only whatever it is. It's 25 or 30 units per week. And it doesn't matter if you have one seller or 10 sellers. Just having 10 sellers doesn't mean you're going to sell 10 times as much, because the market, there's only that many customers for that product in a given week or a month." And then I say, you know, by having me as your exclusive representative, I can protect your brand. That's what Jim was talking about. You know, I set up a Google alert for their brand, and if I see any information, I contact them and help them out, help them get it straight. I can hold your prices so your brick and mortar stores, and a lot of people don't want to sell to eBay and Amazon sellers because they undercut the prices that their brick and mortar stores are charging, and the brick and mortar stores then get upset with the manufacturer. So I said, you know, I can hold your price so we won't be undercutting the brick and mortar stores. And since I'm the exclusive seller, I'm going to control the buy box. I have 5 companies for which I've made that deal. And that one at the Seattle Gift Show a few months ago was my 5th company. And, you know, and it's a handshake agreement. People write me email and they say, "Skip, would you send me a copy of the contract you do with your exclusive buyer?" It's like Jim said, it's a handshake and maybe an exchange of a couple emails where I just lay out what I'm going to do. And then in return, I say, if another seller pops up, I'm going to report them to you, and you contact that seller and tell them that I have the exclusive on Amazon. The other thing you can do once you get that exclusive, you can ask that manufacturer, and I wouldn't do this on the first day, I'd do this after a few weeks when you've been selling and they see your performance, to give you a letter saying that you are the registered brand holder for that product on Amazon. You send that letter into Amazon, and Amazon will register that brand as belonging to you. And any other sellers that pop up underneath you, you can get them removed. General trade shows like ASD and the gift shows. Then there's specialty trade shows. There's gem and jewelry shows. There's, you know, the National Hardware shows, sports and outdoors. The big apparel show is called Magic. Now, some trade show tips. Wear comfortable clothes. I mean, you don't need to dress up or look super professional for a trade show. Remember what Jim was telling you this morning is so true. These people are here because they need you. They're here to sell their products, and they need you. So don't worry about trying to impress anybody, and you don't have to put on any airs or you know, act like you're smarter than you are, or you know more than you do. When I was in sales for years, and we were training new salesmen, we had a slogan we taught them: fake it till you make it. That's good advice for this. This show has one hall that's a cash and carry jewelry show, and that is the only part of the show that's cash and carry. The rest of the show, what you do is you place an order, and then they ship it to you. And generally, they'll take your credit card with you. Almost all of them will take credit cards. I prefer to use credit cards to buy merchandise because I get all the travel points, and you know, we paid for our airfare down here with travel points. Bring a rolling bag. You're going to be collecting a lot of sales sheets and catalogs, and some of these guys will hand you catalogs that are like this thick and they weigh 2 pounds each. Now, it has to be a fairly small rolling bag. Yeah, I mean, a really big, giant suitcase roller, they're not going to allow you in the show with that because they're afraid you're going to roll out with products in it. You know. Now, if you see something that you're interested in, ask the vendor, are they having any show specials? Show specials are usually things like anything you order at the show is free shipping, or maybe it'll be a 5 or 10% discount. I've seen both. I've seen guys offering 10% discount and free shipping. Now, here's a key. Here's something you don't know. You don't have to place that order at the show. You just say to them, you say, look, I'm not positive I think I want to buy this. I'm not positive yet. Will you keep your show special open for me until the end of the week or the first part of next week? And let me get home, do some research on the product, and then I'll call you and place the order. 99% of the time, they'll say yes. So show specials can be extended. Don't feel pressured to order something here at the show. And the way you want to use the show is, the way I like to do it is go around in the daytime, find products I'm interested in, get the sales sheets and the catalogs on those products, and then I like to go back to my room in the evening and research them. And then I can go back the next day, or I can, I've got the contact information. I have their website, their telephone, their email address. I can just call them and place the order. Like I said earlier, I don't volunteer. I'm an online seller. If someone asks me, I tell the truth, but I usually don't volunteer that. John Bullard, in his presentation on what to say and how to negotiate with people at trade shows, he's going to cover a lot more of that. Don't ask if they'll drop ship. Okay, companies that drop ship will volunteer that, or they will have a sign in the booth that says, "We drop ship." As soon as you say, "Do you drop ship?" you've put the word out there that you're a real amateur and you're interested in selling on eBay, and that's like a real giveaway. The other thing to remember about drop ship products is not all products lend themselves to drop shipping. I mean, small items that weigh a pound or two that you can sell and ship yourself. Why would any distributor want to drop ship that? Now, one of the products we drop ship, I'm going to show you, is a 50-pound fire pit. Now, that manufacturer drop ships because he knows I can't store 50-pound fire pits. So, there are some products that lend themselves to drop shipping, like barbecue grills and fire pits and larger things like that. But there are a few companies here that do drop ship, and when I take my group out tomorrow, I'm going to be taking you to a couple of them. So, don't be afraid to ask if that price is their best price. When you say, "How much is this XYZ widget?" and they tell you, say, "Is that really your best price you can do?" And I'm very interested, And now sometimes that can put you in a box. It means like, okay, if I give you that price, then I expect you to order it right now. So make sure before you ask that question that it's something you're really interested in buying. If they're foreign company, and a lot of these companies at ASD are, and you're going to be able to tell when you're there. I mean, there's a lot of them are Chinese companies that are here. But ask them if they have a warehouse in the United States. We're going to have a section on actual importing. But when you buy a case of one product, if you're interested in starting out with a case or two of product, you don't want that coming from China. There's a lot of these foreign companies here that have warehouses in the United States. And most of them tend to be, for some reason, in the Los Angeles area. And they stock the products in the United States, and that way when you're buying in case lot instead of pallet loads or container loads, that's where it's coming from. Now, wholesale merchandise marts. These are much like trade shows. We have one in Seattle called the Pacific Market Center. What a wholesale merchandise mart is, it's kind of like a permanent year-round trade show. Not every major city, but most major cities in the United States have them. And if you Google, wholesale merchandise mart or gift mart or terms like that, plus the name of the city, it'll usually come back. What it is, it's a building, and inside the building are showrooms, and the showrooms look just like retail stores. And the people that own the showrooms are manufacturers' reps or distributors of the product. And what you do is you go in there, you can see and touch and feel the product, and the pricing will be given by the price per the case. Now, most of them, each product line will have like a minimum opening order. Typically, that'll be something like $200, sometimes $250. And that's called the MOO, M-O-O, minimum opening order. So, I sometimes say to people, "What's your MOO?" And they look at me like, "What?" But that's what it means. And then generally, like if their minimum opening order is $250, their reorder amount will be quite a bit lower, like $100. So that's common. But these merchandise marts are just like trade shows because they're also, what they're doing is that those reps are going to the big trade shows, they're finding the new products and they're bringing them back. Like there was just a huge housewares show in Chicago. So several of my reps were there at that show. When I get back to Seattle, I'm going to go to the merchandise mart here in a week or two, and I'm going to see all the brand new products that were just introduced in Chicago. And if I can get those products and get them online before someone else, I can get the jump on other sellers. So try and find the wholesale merchandise marts in your city. If any of you have my complete eBay marketing system or the complete Amazon marketing system, there's a list of all the wholesale merchandise marts in the country in the appendix. So they tend to be in the larger cities. I mean, you're not going to find one in maybe a small city like Richmond, Virginia, but you will find them in Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, places like that, the larger cities, Pittsburgh. They're called by many different names: gift marts, design centers, merchant center, market center. Those are some of the common terms. So if you're looking for one in your area, Google all 4 of those terms plus the name of your city, and you should be able to come up with something. Or the name of the nearest larger city to you. You know, like I said, if you're in Richmond, Virginia, you might want to Google Washington, D.C. or something like that. Yeah, typically they'll have about 100 different storefronts inside. The biggest one in the United States is Atlanta. They have about 700 showrooms in there. I mean, I don't know, it's called Ameris Mart in Atlanta. Some stores have sample sales. What these are usually closeout items, and this is the only time you can pay cash and walk out with something. They'll have some of their items they're closing out, and they'll put them up there at 50% of the normal wholesale price, and you have to pay with cash. They don't take credit cards or anything, and you can walk out with it. And I was at the Seattle Market Center once, and one of the health and beauty dealers was having a very high-end line, stuff that sells for like $39 and $49, and they were having a sample sale, and I was buying these things for $5 and $6 and $7. Each store will typically rep several companies. Like one store, you might be mostly jewelry. You go in there, and then they're repping 10 different jewelry companies. The next store will be kitchenware, and they're representing 5 or 10 different kitchenware products. Another one might be apparel. Usually every gift mart has a Christmas shop where they sell Christmas trees and Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. If you're interested in that, by the way, you need to place your orders by like June, because what they do is they manufacture to the orders, and they'll ship it to you in October. But if you don't place the order by June, it's too late. You're not going to be able to buy any of their stuff for Christmas. Halloween's the same way. There's quite a few vendors here that sell Halloween-themed items, and you'll find Halloween items in the gift marts. And the time to order for Halloween is usually about right now. Well, maybe April, sometimes maybe May. But what they do is, based on the orders they get, they manufacture that number of costumes or whatever they're selling, and then they ship that stuff to you in October. And they don't charge your credit card until October when they ship it to you. So that's the nice feature about that. Yeah, I covered this already, the MOO, minimum opening order. And then the reorders are usually half or sometimes quite a bit less than the MOO. Now, non-wholesale trade shows open to the public. Now, these are specialized shows. It might be a kitchen show, it might be a garden show, an outdoor show, whatever. But at these shows, typically, most of the exhibitors there are local retailers. But there will also be small, specialized companies, new companies. These exhibitors are selling retail, and you can't buy from them. But every one of these public trade shows, not trade shows, but public shows I've been to, there's always, excuse me, there's always a handful of manufacturers there with a brand new product they're selling, and they're actually looking, they're at the show both to sell the product and to find retailers to carry it. So if you see something that looks like that, and that's how I found this line of fire pits that we've been selling for 7 or 8 years now. I just approached the guy and said, you know, do you sell wholesale? And he said, yeah, I'm the owner of the company. And he reached in his briefcase and gave me a wholesale price list, and we were off and running. Now, I did tell him I was selling on eBay, and at the time I was just selling on eBay because these things were already all over Amazon by several other sellers. And he was so frustrated with eBay sellers, after about a year, he contacted me and said, Skip, I want to drop all these other guys. Will you become my exclusive eBay seller? Because you're selling more than anybody else. So I had these things exclusive for about 5 or 6 years. Now, there's the fire pits that I sell. Like I say, they weigh about 50 pounds. They come in about 20 different designs. They have all the major colleges. So you can get like Texas A&M or Penn State or Berkeley or Cal or any of those. The owner of the company was there exhibiting. We asked about wholesale and if he could sell online. They agreed, and even agreed to drop ship for us. That was 2004, and since then we've sold over 2,000 of those fire pits. We don't make a lot of money on them. We make about $30 on each one, but you know, like I say, I've sold close to 2,000 of these. Now, farmers markets, arts and craft shows. There's a lot of arts and crafters that they just hate marketing, and especially they hate online marketing. And, you know, they're good candidates. And a lot of them, what's really interesting, will even give you stuff on consignment. Not always. Sometimes they insist that you buy the items. But the other one is the farmers markets. Now, when you're selling in grocery and gourmet foods on Amazon, you have to deal with packaged products. You can't sell anything that needs to be refrigerated or frozen or has a short expiration date, like a week or two. So you want to look for things like spices, honey, jelly, jams, beef jerky, you know, packaged kind of products. But every farmer's market I've ever been to, there's one local farmer selling his honey or his jams or their beef jerky or whatever it is. And it's usually, he's the farmer and the owner of the company, so you're dealing with a person. And I just ask him, I just say, look, do you wholesale? And they say, yeah, sure. And I say, well, I sell on Amazon, I'd like to carry your product. And then I also make a pitch to be the exclusive. I say, look, as long as I'm selling your product and giving you steady orders, will you let me be the exclusive Amazon seller? They go, sure, why not? You know, usually it's very simple. And it's, again, it's just a handshake deal. Now, arts and craft shows, here again, you're dealing with the artist or the craftsperson. If you want to look for merchandise that it's identical in quantity, not a collection of unique items, this is not a good source. Some of the crafters make, you know, especially the ones that make jewelry, they'll make the same piece of jewelry over and over and over, so you can get 50 pieces of it. But a lot of these crafters are making unique things. They'll have 10 pieces of jewelry and all 10 are different. And then next week they're going to make 10 different pieces of jewelry. So that can be an issue because you're always having to take photography and create new listings. But I have found a lot of the craft shows, people that sell, we have a big craft show that comes to our town every year. And some of the exhibitors there that sell the same merchandise just over and over and over. And I've managed on a couple of occasions to make deals with them. When you're dealing with, you know, one or two person company, it's always easy to, those are the easiest people to negotiate exclusive deals with. So that's another good reason for doing these. Now, you'll usually have to buy the product, but as I said, occasionally they'll do consignment because a lot of artists they give their paintings and prints and stuff to galleries on consignment, so they're used to doing that. Okay, questions. We got about 12 minutes till the lunch break. Yes, ma'am, right here in front.
On the wholesale merchandising marts, what are the credentials for getting entry into those? Is it any different than the trade shows?
It's pretty much the same as a trade show. They want to see a business card, your resale certificate, you know, that you have a sales tax number. If you live in a state like Oregon that doesn't have sales tax, then you want a business license. And one time I was asked for my checkbook. They wanted to see a checkbook with the name of the company on it as opposed to my personal checkbook. So that's a third thing. And I strongly advise all of you that have online businesses to set up, you know, get a business name, get a sales tax number, open a bank account in the name of your business and keep your business and your personal stuff separate. It makes life so much easier at tax time. And the other thing is if you ever decide to incorporate or form an LLC, you know, it's just easy to transfer all that over because you've already got it set up. So next question, over there.
Is there a credible list or a resource of trade shows that take place regularly across the United States?
I sometimes put them in my newsletter, and again, I hate to keep plugging my products, but my complete Amazon marketing system and the complete eBay marketing system, I have in the appendix a list of about 400 trade shows. But one of the places you can look is it's wholesale, oh, what's it? Gosh. Go to my website. In the navigation bar, it says something like wholesale sources, and there's two websites listed of what they are is wholesale search engines. And both of those have a trade show list. If you're on the site, once you get to the site, look, and I'm just, sorry, I'm drawing a mental blank on the name of the thing. Maybe it'll come to me before we're done. But anyway, it is on my website in the navigation, and it's a wholesale search engine where you can search for wholesale companies that advertise on there. And on this, if you look around their navigation, and you'll see a link that says trade shows, and they put a pretty voluminous list of trade shows.
I've been to a few trade shows, but one of my biggest problem would be going and doing the research to know if you pick up that product, if it's going to sell. You're in there for the day, you come home with all these things you have to research that night, see if it's going to sell. So how do you do that? And then also when you mentioned the farmer's market, if it's not even sold on Amazon, what's your criteria to go ahead and put it on Amazon? And do you go real deep?
Well, let me answer the second part of that first about the farmer's market. For instance, if beef jerky is a good seller on Amazon, you know, if the beef jerky sales are in the higher sales ranks, and I'll take a chance with an unbranded, non-brand name of beef jerky, because I'm just really good, and you have to do this too. You have to become good at writing listings, use a service like George's Merchant Words to find the right keywords. Everyone thinks that a product, you know, they don't want to sell a product unless it already has a really high sales rank. I have hundreds, I mean, I have about 1,000 SKUs on Amazon. I am in the hundreds of products where those are brand new products, never been on Amazon before. They had 0 sales rank. I put them on there, people find them, they start selling, and now they're really big sellers. In my presentation tomorrow I'm going to show you a product that I actually created, and Jose is going to do the same thing. Jose designs and creates most of his products, so when he puts them on Amazon, they've never been there before, but they do sell. Now, about researching, you know, as I said, you don't have to place an order right here at the show. So collect the catalogs and you can even do it when you do research when you get home. Collect the catalogs and the sales sheets, because that'll have the ordering information. Generally, at the booth, they'll give you the catalog or a little sales sheet on the products and pricing. So you can go home, research it, and then just call them up or email them and place an order. But, you know, but like I say, don't be afraid to take chances with new products. Just because something's not on Amazon, you know, there is a market for that product. Now, I got to admit, I strike out every once in a while. I would say about 1 or 2 out of every 15 or 20 products that I create and put on Amazon for the first time just never make it. But that's why the first time I buy those products, I buy them in small quantities. One of the things I do, you know, tomorrow we're going to talk about private labeling. You know, if private labeling is really big now, and to think about when you're private labeling, you're talking all new products, because you're creating a private label for the product that has 0 sales rank. So you have to find products, but you know, in the product I'm going to show you tomorrow is a specialized type of gun holster. And as I said, it's a product I designed. I private labeled it, I put it on Amazon, and I now sell maybe 12 or 14 of those a day, and I'm making about $12 on each one. So, yeah, don't be afraid to, don't assume that a product has to have a high sales rank in order to sell. We got about 4 or 5 more minutes. Go ahead, next question. Over there, right? Oh, someone up here? Okay, let's take this lady's first. And then there's a lady in the back row next.
When we go to the trade show, should we expect to see UPC codes that we can scan with our phones to see how they're selling?
Yes and no. A lot of these products are imported and they don't have UPC codes. And a lot of times what happens is the UPC code is on the box, but they don't have the box, they're showing the product sitting on the shelf. So, yeah, in some cases you will be able to, but in others not. So, back there.
I like the idea of going to the farmers markets and finding, you know, niche products and selling them online, but I'm worried about the liability of selling them. Do you have insurance that covers it, or?
Well, okay, Amazon, once you're selling about $10,000 a month, you might or might not get an email from Amazon. They have a policy that all pro sellers, just pro sellers, have to carry liability insurance, but it's general business liability, it's not product liability. Product liability insurance is just so expensive you could never afford it. The way that most of us protect ourselves is to form a corporation or an LLC. You do all your business through the LLC or the corporation. If someone sues you, they have to sue the corporation. They can get any of the corporate assets, like your computer or, you know, what cash you have in the bank, but they can't touch your personal assets like your home or your IRA or your retirement savings or anything like that. So that's the best way to protect yourself from liability. There's a question up here. 30. Oh, I thought I had just till noon. Oh dear. Well, I can't go 30 more minutes, so we're gonna have a little longer lunch break.
Good, because
By the way, I want to apologize. Originally, when we did the schedule, we had longer breaks plugged in, and I didn't pick up when that changed. I told you all this morning that you're going to have nice long breaks. So, if it's okay with, I'm going to have John and Jose here in the back of the room. They're the other speakers. Let's start our sessions 5 minutes later. That'll give you a 20-minute break instead of a 15-minute break. Because with an hour and a half, I think we have plenty of time to cover, all our material. So, go ahead. Next question.
Yes, Skip, you were talking about 1,000 SKUs on Amazon. How daunting of a task is? I mean, there's a lot of us like we're new to the Amazon side, and 1,000 SKUs. I mean, I've done as many as 12,000 SKUs on eBay at any given time, but I've got a lot of help. Do you have a team? Do you have virtual assistants? How do you manage 1,000
My
SKUs?
team's right in the back with her hand raised. It's my wife, Karen. Her nickname is the shipping goddess.
The two of you do
And-
1,000 SKUs.
No, but you start slow. I started with 100 SKUs, and then I have a goal to add like 20 new SKUs a month. And, it took me a couple years to get up to 1,000. But one thing that happened to me 3 years ago, I took on a jewelry line that I negotiated an exclusive on. You ladies are familiar with the Pandora type beads. Well, this is a company. Karen, do you have your bracelet on today? Wear it tomorrow. I can show them to you. This is a company called Novo Beads, and it was started by the brother of the person that started Pandora Beads. And we met them at a trade show. I made my pitch. They gave me the exclusive. And their product line was 300 items. So I had 300 SKUs right off the get-go that I had to list.
We got an email from Amazon the other day as a gated, product was jewelry, and it flat out stated that they were not accepting any new vendors on the pro side for jewelry at this time.
Yeah, they do that once in a while. They did that a few months ago. It was about a 6-month period. They were blocking new sellers, and then they opened it up, and they were swamped with new people coming in. The reason that happened was there's a lot of jewelry sellers in China, and what they were doing was selling 14-karat gold that when Amazon tested it, it was really only 12-karat. So they had to go through this process of vetting a lot of their suppliers and sending it off to appraisers and having it tested and appraised. And I even got an email. No, I got a phone call from them one day. They said, "Hey, you have a bead that you're saying is a Swarovski crystal, and our appraiser says it's not crystal, so you have to take that word out of the title." Well, I took it out of the title, then I contacted the manufacturer. I got the manufacturer to send them a letter saying, "Look, we buy direct from Swarovski, and all of our crystal is Swarovski crystal." So they let me put it back in. But that's what happened. But jewelry, if the jewelry category, if you're on one of these groups like My Silent Team, and the jewelry category opens up again, you'll see it. People will be writing about it there, and jump in. If it opens, jump in as soon as you can. So maybe a couple more questions. John, yeah.
Yeah, Skip, I just want to touch back on that UPC thing that you were talking about a little bit, because I think it's more of your presentation than mine. If you find it on the shelf, they don't have a UPC, you can ask them to take an image of it. You can take a picture with your camera, and you can research it that way. Or a lot of them have what they call their sheets, their price sheets, and they will have the UPC scannable thing on them, or they will have a UPC available that you can look. You just got to ask that. Sometimes you're going to see that there is no UPC on a product, but that's not the last resort. And that's what we'll call, being, ready and prepared and knowing what to ask them. And you will find that sometimes they do have those sheets, especially, I love the ones where you can scan. You just got the barcode on the paper and you can scan it and go that way. But they will also let you take an image of that product so that if you go back to your hotel and you want to sit down and, because you're going to write down, Max box, car, whatever it is, green, whatever. But if you've got the actual physical picture of it, it's going to help you when you research.
Right, absolutely, it's a good point. Okay, maybe just one or two more quick questions.
Buying in categories like apparel, shoes, et cetera, that have multiple sizes or colors or variations, any guidance you have for approaching those kind of people?
Yeah,
those kind
I'm
of vendors?
approved in the apparel category, and I learned not to buy clothing for that very reason. I sell only accessories like, hats, gloves, scarves, belts, things like that. And I do very, very well with that. The one thing about the apparel category, it has the second highest return rate. It's a 22% return rate of any category on Amazon. And that's one of the reasons I kind of stay away from the actual apparel themselves. But I do have some products that have the variation listings, like some of the scarves I sell. You know, they come, when I buy them, I have to buy a package that contains 3 different colors. So I have to take the different photographs and do the variation. But very limited. Not many of the products I have do that. I try to stay away from, I'm okay if something has 1 or 2 or 3 variations. If something has 10 variations, like 5 different sizes and 9 different colors, I'm not there. It's just not for me. Okay, any more? Here's one over here, Ray. Back in the back, this lady. Sorry to point at you.
I have a question. I was just approved in fashion jewelry, and I tried to do a listing with, I thought it was fashion jewelry, but it had sterling silver in it. Can you differentiate for me the differences between fine jewelry and fashion jewelry categories?
Generally, sterling or gold is considered fine jewelry. All the fashion jewelry, I think I mentioned, or if I didn't, a few years ago, when Karen and I were here at the show, we went in the fine jewelry hall, the cash and carry part, and we spent about $2,000, $3,000 on sterling silver jewelry. Completely lost our butt on it. You know, I couldn't sell that stuff to save my life. And then about a year and a half ago, well, then we got the Nova beads line, and because that was a line of beads and it had a name and they advertised, you know, those started going well. And so that's the one fine jewelry product we have. But I moved into inexpensive fashion jewelry, stuff that sells for like $24 to $99, you know, bracelets, necklace, earring sets. And believe me, there's not in the jewelry hall. The jewelry hall is all pretty much fine jewelry, but in the apparel and kind of scattered throughout the show, there's about probably 5 or 6 dozen fashion jewelry dealers here. And I mean, I buy bracelets for $3 that I can sell for $21.95. And we are killing it. And like I said, again, it's another, you asked the question about new products. All of these fashion jewelry products were just new products I put up. They didn't have any sales rank. And some of them I private label. I give them a brand name. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow and show you some examples about how I do that. But yeah, they're all over the place here. And that's the kind of things I look for. Necklace earring sets, I buy them for $11 and sell them for $39.95. I mean, that's almost a 400% markup. You need a bigger markup in fashion jewelry because the Amazon commission is 20% instead of 15%. So, but fashion jewelry lends itself to that. One more, and then I'm just dying on my feet up here. Yes, sir, here at the microphone.
You said not to state that you're an online seller unless they ask.
Little louder, please.
You stated not to tell the vendor that you're not an online seller unless they ask. Have you ever had any issues after you start selling a product that they state, oh, you can't sell online or through Amazon?
Yeah, I have had that happen to me, and I actually am buying some wholesale product from a couple companies that don't want their product on eBay or Amazon. For that reason, I don't know if any of you know this, but you know, when you register your account on Amazon, you register your personal name or your business name, and Amazon lets you make up a display name. That's the name that's displayed. Go into your account settings, edit your name, and pick a different display name. And that way, when that manufacturer sees the products being sold on Amazon, they'll send an email to you and ask you to cease and desist doing that. But you can just ignore that email. They don't know who you are, and Amazon will never tell them who you are. Amazon will never give out that business information. So, you know, if my company name is Summerdale House, that's how I'm registered on Amazon. My display name is Creekside Mall, and that's how that's what people see. But if I get an email or someone says, Creekside Mall, you're underselling our product, you know, we don't allow our product to be sold on Amazon. I don't care. You know, what are they going to do about it? Okay, folks, I think that's it.